Hi, I'm GeekMan, and this is GeekMan Versus, where in every video I take on a new challenge. And today we're going to take on old electronics. Now I don't know about you, but I have a lot of electronics sitting around my house that are just too old for me to use on the day-to-day, but not old enough to just throw away. Now what I plan on doing is taking an old desktop computer and turning it into a network-attached storage device, or NAS device. And that way I can access things like my files and my games and my photos and my emails from anywhere in the world, but instead of being hosted by a company where I'm paying for it, this would be hosted in my own home, and I don't have to pay anything except my internet connection, which I pay for anyway. So I've done a lot of research into this, and I think I know what I'm doing, but I probably don't. This is Big Red. Big Red is an old gaming computer I built around 9 years ago, which I think makes it a great candidate for being repurposed into a test NAS for my home. Big Red has an Asus X99 series motherboard, which has an Intel Core i7-6800K CPU. It has 64 gigabytes of Corsair Vengeance DDR4 RAM, which runs at 3200 megahertz. This is non-ECC RAM. It's got a 500 gigabyte Samsung 960 EVO series M.2 SSD, and the graphics card you see is an Asus GeForce GTX 1070 8 gigabyte ROG Strix BOC edition. And that's all being powered by a Seasonic X850 80 plus gold power supply. And everything is contained in a stylish Phanteks Enthoo Evolve ATX computer case with tempered glass sides. It didn't take long to open up Big Red and get to work. I just needed to remove the 4 thumb screws holding the glass side panel in place, and then I could begin cleaning out all the dust inside. Once that was done, I thought I was ready to begin installing the hard drives, but that's when I ran into problem number 1. You see, I was originally planning on putting 8 hard drives on the bottom of Big Red in a designated area for hard drives, but once I opened it up, I realized that the drive cages were missing and the area reserved for the cages was filled with cables and wires. I guess when I originally built the computer, around 9 years ago, I took the cages out so I'd have a place to hide all the ugly cables. Since I had no idea what happened to the original cages after all this time, I had to change my plans and find something else to hold the drives, and somewhere else to put them. A little research later, I ordered 8 stackable hard drive cages that would fit inside Big Red, which led to a second problem, which was space. In order for the new cages to fit inside Big Red, I'd have to remove both the GeForce GTX 1070 graphics card and the 2 front-facing fans. Now, the fans weren't an issue. There would still be 4 other fans in the case, so airflow wouldn't be that much of a problem. But the graphics card was another thing entirely. What I had discovered when I started taking out the graphics card was that the Asus X99 motherboard didn't have onboard graphics. That meant I needed a graphics card or I wouldn't be able to connect a monitor and see what I was doing when it came time to install all the software. So, to solve that issue, I searched my pile of old computers and found an old HTPC I had lying around and stole its Zotac Gaming GeForce GTX 1650 graphics card, which is a half-length graphics card, so half the length of the 1070, leaving plenty of space for the hard drives to stack up inside Big Red. The last issue I ran into was the Phanteks Enthoo Evolve case itself, which had a giant cutout in exactly the wrong place, leaving the hard drives with nothing solid to sit on. I solved that with every great engineer's go-to solution: cardboard and duct tape. I figured this entire project was supposed to be an experiment, so aesthetics didn't matter for now because, as long as the NAS actually worked, I could always come back later and make it look pretty. So, once everything was put together, I turned on Big Red and was thrilled that everything seemed to work. For a few minutes at least. Now this is where my YouTube inexperience comes in. You see, After Big Red had been on for a few minutes without me noticing anything wrong, I turned off the camera and missed the excitement when I turned around and saw smoke coming out of the computer. Now don't worry, I managed to turn Big Red off before anything truly disastrous happened, but I did forget to turn the camera back on to record myself spending the next hour or so trying to figure out what had happened. What can I say? I'm new to this whole YouTube thing and don't yet have the film everything all the time instincts everyone else seems to have been born with. But on the plus side, I did turn on the camera after I figured out what the problem was, and, well, why don't I let past me explain? This hard drive may have been the cause of the short. I'm not really sure if it is, but I removed it from the system anyway and substituted in another 6 terabyte drive that I had in the house. That means that all the drives in the NAS are not going to be from the same make and model. One of them will be different, but that shouldn't matter. They're all the same size, so who cares? But this was causing a major issue, and that major issue was it was melting the SATA cables. As you can see, I hope you can see, they were melting. And that's not supposed to happen because they're not supposed to put power through these. And I tried this cable, which melted. Then I tried this cable, which also started to smoke and melt. So what I did is I took that hard drive out of the system, plugged in a new hard drive, and now everything seems to work fine. No overheating. I've touched all the individual cables, nothing heating. So it may have been a short in that hard drive. Something may have happened. I don't know. I also did not use the SATA connector on the board that the other 2 cables had been plugged into. So I skipped over that one and went to the next one in line. There are 10 SATA connectors on the board, so instead of using 1 through 8, I'm now using 1 through 9, and I'm skipping over number 8. And now that the little issue of a short in one of the drives has been addressed, I have a working NAS. But just to make sure that no other gremlins moved in and decided to try and burn down my house, I've left Big Red on for a few days running drive tests, and so far, there's been no problems. And that's the end of the physical build of my do-it-yourself NAS made out of my own personal obsolete hardware. Now, you may notice that there are only 5 drives here. That's because I shoved 3 of the drives underneath in the area that I wanted to put them in originally that had all the cabling. I managed to move some of that cabling out of the way, and that leaves me a little bit more room should I want to expand storage, but unfortunately, I can't put the glass panel back on because these drives are just sitting there loosely, just stacked up. And I'm afraid that if I put the glass panel back on, the drives might hit it and that would crack or break the glass. So I'm leaving it open for now. The important part is it works, and I can begin experimenting with ways to wean myself off of cloud-based services that I don't want to pay for anymore. In case you're wondering what my software plans are for Big Red here, I've already installed TrueNAS Community Edition thanks to all of the troubleshooting and installation help that I found here on YouTube. And it's really thanks to all of that freely available help that I decided on TrueNAS to begin with. Over the next few days, I'll be installing Nextcloud on Big Red here as an experimental replacement for all of those cloud services that I don't want to pay for anymore. Things like Google Docs or calendars or photo backup services. I'll also install Tailscale as a secure way to access Big Red and all of those files no matter where I am in the world or what device I'm using. So I can use a laptop in Barcelona or my cell phone on a train in Tokyo and still reach all the files that I want to reach. And that's the end of this video. If you'd like to know how the installation and use of any of the software goes for me and Big Red here, leave me a comment below. And please like and subscribe so that you know when I post a new video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.